Batman issue 3, legacy number 931, Matt Fraction writing with Jorge Jimenez on the art. So the big cliffhanger at the end of last issue was that, Tim had that alteration with the cops and Batman showed up, and then they tried, Vandal Savage clearly trying to frame it as Batman and Robin have killed some police officers, so now we're anti-Batman and Robin. It's all out war on the bats. This issue starts with a teenager in one of the apartments nearby recording his grandmother on the phone for some school project or something. And he hears gunshots outside and actually goes out and films, and it kind of looks from his perspective that Batman and Robin might have done this, because when he goes outside after the gunshots, there's cops lying on the ground and Batman and Robin are fleeing the scene of the crime. But he also seems to be filming when the rest of the police and that show up and Vandal Savage is there, and we clearly see Vandal Savage pull out a batarang from his pocket and shove it into the dead body. The kid seems to have been filming during this, and we do get a small scene later on when he goes to someone who lives in his building who happens to be a journalist and is like, hey, I've got something you might want to see. It's a news-related thing.
I just love that no matter what, corrupt cops are still corrupt cops. Like, for all the life that Vandal Savage has lived, he's still literally pulling the battering out of his pocket, looking around, and then putting it in the crime scene. Like, it is still such funny kind of Keystone Cop behavior.
Yeah, he's also going to the cop that lived. Is in the hospital, and Vandal Savage goes to him and says, "You're going to say Batman did this, or I'm going to kill you right now in this hospital bed." That's the gist of the scene. So again, he's laying on thick.
He crimps the oxygen tube going to the oxygen mask, and then it starts, the guy starts flat lighting and whatnot. So yeah, again, some real bad cop stuff here. I love it.
Yeah, and then Bruce then is at the hospital to visit Tim, because Tim obviously did get shot, so he is getting some medical attention.
And worked over, right? Because it was him versus the prisoners.
That's true, yeah, true. I would assume it's mainly the gunshot. Well, I mean, don't have Alfred anymore, but I assume they can treat the bruises and the scrapes and,
Yeah, well, because it's just Bernard's there to also see Tim.
Yeah, and Bernard gives Bruce a telling off and says, every time Tim spends a weekend with you, he comes back hurt. And I'm like, wait, does Bernard think that Bruce has been abusive? Because that's what it kind of sounds like.
That's what it sounded like to me, because he goes, this is what happens when you go down the mountain on your face and not your skis. And so, that also sounds like something that an abused person would say. Right? Like, I fell down the mountain on my own.
Yeah. Feels like Tim might have to fess up about some of his life to Bernard later on in the story if this is going to get cleared up. Because I don't know how you clear Bruce here in his eyes without Tim being like, okay, by the way, I'm a vigilante. I get beat up a lot. It's not Bruce.
Yeah. Because he says whenever you and Tim go off on your little bro weekends, he comes back beaten up to hell. It's weird, isn't it? Whenever he spends time with you, he gets hurt. And it's like, oh, this kid's putting it together. This is not good for Bruce.
Well, I don't know if he's put it together, because I think he just thinks Bruce is abusive.
Yeah.
Frankly.
Well, that's what I mean. There's something up that he's noticing, right? Like, which again, that's smart writing from Fraction. Like, if you're gonna have, these close relationships with the characters, it would make sense that Bernard would pick up on stuff like this. And he is visiting, because I forgot about the whole Bernard thing. So when we go there and there's this kid, and I was like, oh yeah. That started in one of the side,
Oh, yeah. If they didn't say what his name was here, I could never have told you the name of this character.
But just the idea that Tim and Bernard have still been doing things and hanging out and doing, whatever the extent of their relationship was. I don't know if they were officially together, because I didn't keep reading that. That was in the Gotham book, where they had all the anthology style ones. But yeah, that's good that, writers like Fraction bring that back in and remind you there's the bigger world, that's ongoing. It's not just Bruce and Tim on Bat and Robin adventures.
Yeah. So on TV, they're debating Batman and Robin and whether or not he's a psychopath and blah, blah, blah. Hugo Strange. Apparently, Hugo Strange has got his name cleared enough that he's on TV shows now. Because this is still in continuity. This is not like we're doing a year one story where no one knows Hugo Strange is a psychopath.
And it seems like he's kind of the voice of reason here, which is weird.
Well, kind of, but he's the voice of reason in a very anti-Batman and Robin way.
Yes.
So, Yeah, but the scientist lady's on there talking about her tech to try and make the insane sane, and that's obviously something we were tapping into with the that issue 1 Clayface story that we got.
Killer Croc.
Oh, sorry, Killer Croc. Yeah, I knew it was one of the big monstery ones. Yeah, but yeah. So she's going on about this and how, because they're arguing, hey, Wayne's funding you, blah 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 blah. Does that mean he gets a say in what you're researching? And she's like, no, it's just a donation. He has no say in what we're doing. So that sets some things up as well. We get a scene of Bruce and Damian training, and Bruce is distracted by everything going on, and he's obviously, clearly the fact that Tim's been this hurt and now he's been confronted by it and he's seen these debates on TV, he's really thinking about his role in all this. We also see Gordon make a call to Bullock to put up the quote-unquote bat signal, which turns out to be like a little toy bat stuck to his window, which is the stealth bat signal, because obviously they can't just light the big light right now.
Yep. Oh, and I love when they get up to the rooftop and Bullock's like, all that time we had that big old floodlight and now we just use a stuffed animal. And Gordon starts going, well, really, it was like a symbol for others to know that Batman and Bullock kind of cut him off. I thought that was very funny.
Yeah, but he's right though. I mean, as soon as Bullock made that joke, I'm like, yeah, but it wasn't about just this is not about because the only way to get in touch with them is the big light. It's about this, the symbolic thing of everyone knowing he's out there. And Batman even says it was Gordon's idea to have the big symbolic thing. So so basically they talk about what's going on, and that Savage is like declaring hunting season on bats and all that. Things are super corrupt. But there's a really funny gag here where Bullock says, wait, how are you going to disappear on his Batman? This is a tiny roof. There's no way you can do it. And then Batman says, oh, that woman's getting, that car's trying to hit that woman. And they all look down and they're like, holy shit. And then it's like, no, wait, no, they're not. And then they turn around and Batman's gone. And he's like, son of a bitch.
Funny, very bleeping funny.
Yes.
I don't Bullock, yeah.
Yeah, I guess you call that. And then the final big sequence is that Riddler's broke into the lab building and is, assaulting security guards and whatnot. Batman shows up, punches him a bunch of times. He's got a stealth suit. We're continuing this, tech box with the various things that he has. He beats up Riddler, solves his riddles, and it turns out Riddler was coming here to steal this tech that he saw her talk about on TV because he wants to calm down his brain. Like, he keeps hearing... riddles, yeah. Like, he has to talk in riddles. He's always thinking a million miles a minute, and he wants to take it away. So it's just an idea that maybe some of the villains want this, but he reveals that some of the other villains have had this tested on them. So the issue ends with Batman on his way to Arkham, because that's where there's been some testing. And is it ethical that these tests have been happening at Arkham? It doesn't feel like it is ethical, and that's why Batman's maybe a bit miffed about it. So you get a big full page spread of him driving off, talking to Alfred in his head. There was also one moment with Ghost Alfred earlier where Damian in training won the fight by kicking him in the nuts. And Bruce said, Alfred, did I ever do that to you? He's like, not physically, but spiritually, many times.
Yeah, God. I do like when people bring a sense of humor to Batman, and not just Bruce, but like through the other characters. So here we get Gordon and Bullock and the Ghost of Alfred, and I really like the Riddler stuff because the riddles he was speaking in aren't what you would think of as Riddler riddles, right? It's just like he's just saying things in this manic state. So I automatically clocked something was up, and then so when Bruce finally gets to him and hits him with the sedative, it's almost like an act of mercy, because he's like, hours. This has been going on for hours.
He also has a bit of paper on him that's all riddles, but when Batman solves the riddles, it's basically just a shopping list. It's like eggs, milk, bread are the answers, because he has to do everything in riddles, and he's trying to make that stop. He's trying to make the voices stop, effectively. I think that's an interesting concept. I will say, though, that I probably think this is the least favorite of the 3 issues so far. Just purely because, while I like most of the individual parts, I like what he's doing with, I like what he's doing with the Vandal Savage cop stuff. I like what he's doing with the kid witnessing that. I like what he's doing with this Riddler wanting the technology. I like what he's doing with Batman questioning himself and, being a bit off his game. All of this stuff individually I like. It's just that I think as a whole, this issue doesn't feel as tight as like a full story. It feels very much as just lots of little parts that are the next part of the story, as opposed to a full meal that I think both issues 1 and 2 offered quite well.
It feels like a bridge between things. Like this is the in between to get to the next big chunk. But it feels less standalone-y too, like the first 2 did.
Yes.
Those felt like a very episodic, kind of not even freak of the week, but like thing of the month, right? Like it's the last one was Robin versus the crooked cops, and the first one was Batman chasing down Killer Croc. And then there's been these little serialized pieces. This one felt like more of the serialized pieces,
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it would be very difficult for someone who's not read issue 1 and 2 to get anything out of this issue, because everything relies kind of on you being familiar with what's going on. Whereas issue 1 and 2, well, they had little serialized bits in them. They primarily were this A plot that could be enjoyed on its own, which I don't think's a big deal in the sense that, like, obviously I'm reading them all the issues anyway, and I think that they should reward you for reading all the issues. But it's just a case of, like, they felt so nice to read as a monthly issue because they did have a full kind of chapter to themselves, as well as the little serialized bits. So, so I would probably say this is the weakest of the 3 issues. Still very good though. I still like everything it's doing. It just isn't as tight and as like this amazing structure that the last couple have been. So maybe it's just a necessary evil because he has to set up a bunch of stuff before what we're doing next. Maybe we're off to Arkham. Maybe the next issue is going to mostly take place there or whatever.
Yeah.
But
and this device, I don't know if you mentioned the device. It's like this helmet that has electrodes that go into the brain, and it disrupts patterns of thinking. Right, like it gets in there on the cellular level, and that's why Hugo Strange is saying, like, if he had done this to Van Gogh, he wouldn't have painted Starry Night. And the doctor that created this device is like, yeah, he also wouldn't have died at 37. Like there's nothing sexy about bad mental health. And so it was very weird to see Hugo Strange talk about, like, yeah, maybe we shouldn't be messing with this kind of stuff, but it's also Hugo Strange who's done really bad things. So
yeah, he likes messing with people's minds. I feel like if this was his idea, he'd be all for it. This is
100%. He just doesn't like it because she beat him to it. Yeah. So, but yeah, I like that whole sequence. And again, I do feel like this doctor does have like good things in mind. I just think that she's underestimating the people of Gotham, like the people that are in Arkham for a reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But I mean, maybe this will give us a glimpse into like a sane version of some of these characters. I would be very bold to use it on the Joker. I kind of hope they don't do that. Maybe they can tease it, perhaps, that hey, this will make Joker sane for 24 hours. What do we do with that idea, kind of thing? But yeah, not bad, Ben. I mean, obviously the art is very good still. Jimenez kind of kills it, makes it a lot very fun, very vivid, very colorful. So no complaints there.
I love the sequence with Bruce and Damian fighting. Just the way that like there's the panel right when he kicks him in the crotch. Right above it, we have them fighting across the screen and talking about the different subjects, and I thought that was very well paced. Like Jimenez is pretty good at this type of stuff.
I mean, honestly, the only critique I'd give the art is not really an art critique. It's more just that because this issue is what it is, it doesn't have as big bombastic things for it to do, in the art. But that's not the art's fault.
True. Yeah, I think like the biggest page is that splash page. It's the one page of the stealth suit, right?
Yeah.
When he's kind of materializing. And then that's really the only one that comes to mind. Everything else are these kind of smaller moments.
Yeah. And they did a big thing with the last page, but even the last page looks good, but like it did kind of feel like this isn't like an amazing cliffhanger. It's just kind of like this is the best thing you could come up with based on where the story's ending here for now. Yeah. So yeah, off to Arkham we go. Off to see the Ark, the wonderful Ark of Ham.
The doctors, I would say the wonderful doctors of Ark.
All right, man. What do you give Batman issue 3?
I'm gonna give this a straight 8.
Yeah, I think I. No, I'm going to dock it just slightly to 7.5. Okay. Just for the reasons I mentioned, that it feels like a collection of interesting and good story bits, but not something that feels as cohesive as a whole in a satisfying way that I think issues 1 and 2 were. Well, it's still good though. Like I'm not really complaining per se.